Hi everyone, welcome into Oz Studio. Today I have in front of me my book of all the Patreon guided drawings that I've created over the years, and I'm going to show you up here how you can follow along doing this guided drawing. It's going to be exactly the same as what I would do on a piece of computer paper, so you just grab yours and 3 colors of any medium, red, yellow, and blue. On your computer paper, you notice that there is a border that's created by folding one sheet in half and just drawing around it. And we'll start right with the yellow. You might just have to clean off your yellow if it isn't clean already, but then just let the yellow stream inwards. It could be from the upper right or the upper left. And then we'll take blue and have it surround from below. And lighten the pressure as we get up towards the yellow so they can simply breathe together. Ever so delicate. You must just lift off to get a light pressure. Let's go right back to yellow again then and start at our most bright yellows, increasing just where we feel it is brighter, and then let yellow sweep in to the blue. Notice I'm cleaning off every time so that I don't get green in my yellow. And then come right back to your blues and allow these blues to increase the greens. Okay, now it's time for our red. We're going to use the red to create our flower blossom up in the yellow. And bring a sense of red right down into the stem and leaf. Let's connect the flower gesture to the stem gesture by increasing the greens. How do we do that? We put yellow on top of blue. And sometimes we put blue on top of yellow. And when you're working on your small computer paper, I want you to also just let your hand find what it wants to do. Now you see I've suddenly started making sort of a grass down here to support the gesture of my flower. I still like having the blue, a really rich blue. So I'll come back with blue and shade that just a little bit. Let's bring some shade to our stems. And come back also to our flower. If we add a little bit of yellow right on top of the red, you know we're going to get orange. And so we can decide, where do we want there to be a brightness of orange? How about right back there? And we see some in here. And we could just fill this space too with a little bit of orange to unify our flowers. Come back again to the petals and increase just a little bit of that outlined quality, but don't get too rigid with your outlines. You may even find that there's things that really don't exist in the flower that you want to increase. So feel free to do that. It doesn't have to look realistic to be impressive in its own way. Look with me and see that I've created a flower composition from yellow and blue, creating green, and then the addition of red has created the flower sort of petal. At this point, I would look back at my work and evaluate it and see which parts do I like, so I can build on what I like. And this is a little key trick that I'm going to let you know right here. I'm going to reveal to you how I don't give up. And one way is I might look at my picture and say, where do I really like it? Where do I think it's really working? And in this picture, I'd have to say, honestly, I really love it down here in this rich blue color. I also love those yellows behind and the shapes, but I feel right in here that it's a little empty. So I'm going to use what I really like, the blue and the shape of this, to fill that space a little bit so it looks natural and I feel it's complete. So just follow along. Let's start by using the blue right in here and kind of see if we can maybe just coax forward another space for a small bud. Maybe this one isn't so open, and besides it's kind of facing away from us, so we're going to just curve it over a little bit to the left. And I can smooth this with a finger or even my glove to kind of blend it out. Now, things that are farther away are generally going to be a little bit more blurry for our vision. Our focal point is always on what is up close to us and really showing. So we can accentuate what is up close, such as this flower and this stem with the leaf. Probably we'll want another leaf to come up here through there. And then we have this one, which is kind of behind there, and this one, which is even further away. We get lighter and lighter. Right here you can see the leaf is flopping over a little bit. So let's accentuate that by just darkening up to a very narrow space and then making this come forward like that. And this underneath part, we will just contrast a little bit up to where the flop then flips over and goes this way. Now we see the composition is quite nicely filled out, and I can come back to my border. You can do this on your small piece of paper too, or whatever size you're working on, and just darken the border and kind of clean that up a little. You see here I've kind of gone outside the lines, and that's fine. I love that actually. So just go around that if you do that. And then let's just pay attention to this little section right here. And what if we just imagined that there was another flower back there, kind of far away from us, so we're really not going to see a lot of the color depth here, but I'm just going to suggest it ever so slightly and also have it curve away from us right away. And we'll just make it a little bit blue so it stands out from the leaf. And you can see the petals are actually away from the viewer. In the final touches of a quick art reset drawing like this, you could look at your piece and ask yourself, where could I bring back the light? And in this case, we're going to use an eraser to sort of look into light spaces and just pull off carefully some of the light that we like. Now, some of you might be saying, oh, please don't do that, Janet, because you think it's not proper to lift off light into your picture, like you should have known before that it was going to be light like that. But for most artists, it's a working process, and you have to evaluate and change and define. And there's no shame in that. It's a learning process. And anyway, it's all about the joy that you feel creating art. I might just try to draw a little line right in here. A little sharpness. So as you can see, a good eraser is really great to have. And I even like a very fine tipped one to sometimes really carve out what I want in a picture. And if I feel that I've erased too much, let's say, like I take way too much away, I can always come back with a little bit of color and add it back in. And you do have to be careful at this point because you might be picking up color from another area, but sometimes that can be advantageous. So for example, I could go across this green here, and now I have green on my chalk. So obviously with chalk, it's going to work differently than colored pencil. Let's add a little purples down here by layering some red right over the blue. And you don't want to take away all your purity of color, such as this beautiful pure blue down here, but a little bit of free working is so helpful. I always suggest that you come back to what you like, freshen it up a bit, and recreate it. Now right in here, you'll notice that we can actually do a bit of correction. If we're, say, trying to get a tulip, we want the petal, one petal, to come all the way down to the base and connect here. And that is the way the tulip petals layer over each other. So we can look to what is accurate at the end and basically come back and add those details. Even in here, we could add some very small semblance of inner petals. Your art piece is going to look different from mine, and that's good because you'll be drawn to certain colors in a different way than I am. You might be more inclined to have yours a bright yellow, or some of you will be like, no, I really want to get into those deep purples and reds. Whatever is your expression is the right one. You can find healing, strength, and well-being from the experience of pure color, so enjoy it and don't judge it.